Hey guys, it's Ben Terry Farm. I wanted to show you guys something today. We got our chicks in this week. Oh, sorry. Try to keep the sun out of the camera. And it's been a couple days, but what I wanted to show you is what we keep them in and what we brood them in, because this is not something I've seen many people do. In fact, I don't know that I've ever really seen someone do this. I'm not saying other people don't, but we keep them in a solar brooder from day one, so they're always on pasture. And the reason why we do this is because when I thought about like pasture broilers, and a lot of times they're only out, or they only live about 8 weeks before you slaughter them. That like 3 weeks, which is almost 40%, they're actually inside, indoors. And we want to figure out a way to put them outside from the very beginning. And so this is something I constructed myself. I kind of came up with the idea. Like I said, there's probably other people doing it, but this is sort of my own invention here. And I'm going to turn the camera around and show you. So this is the brooder. I'll go inside and show you the ducks and chicks first, because it seems we lose the audience attention very quickly. It's sad to say, but so I'll show you the ducks and chicks before I show you the design and construction. But we have ducklings in here that we hatched ourselves, and we also have chicks that we ordered from a Pennsylvania hatchery, Moyers. I think these are called Royal Reds. We normally get the Freedom Rangers, which are also from Pennsylvania. But we didn't have, we waited too long, and the dates weren't, we just couldn't get the date we wanted. But anyway, we have ducks and chicks in here. And like I said, the ducks are hatched. And there's actually 4 chicks in here from our meat chickens too. Unfortunately, I'm hoping they sort of show their different colors so that we know which ones are which. But you know, if they all turn out the same, I guess we'll know if we have females, because we only ordered males from Moyers. We only have cockerels in here. So if we have any females, we'll know they're from our meat chickens from last year. But anyways, so last night it got down to 35 degrees, and these chicks and ducklings were completely fine in here, and I'll show you why. For one, yes, we are still brooding them with a light in here, but we actually turn the light off during the day. Here's the cord. And so this straw on top here acts as an insulator. Straw is actually a very good insulator. And underneath here, because the light's still on, you should be able to see the chicks. And there's 2 lights on. There's one right here. There's one at the far end. That's for safety. But basically the chicks can run under this thing. See, it's just floating. And they run under there at night, and they just kind of all stay there by the lights, and it stays nice and warm under there, even if it gets down to freezing. In fact, we had ducklings in here in the winter. I guess I should keep the camera like that. We had ducklings in here in the winter where it got well below freezing. And actually it snowed a whole bunch, and we had to shovel snow out of the way to move it. But the whole point of this is we don't just leave them here, you know, day after day. The first couple of days I'll let them in here 2 days before I move it. And now I'm going to go to the outside. Well, I guess I'll show anyone who's interested a little bit of the construction on the inside. But so yeah, I just excuse me, I was unloading einkorn yesterday, and I always get this dust. Makes it difficult for me to talk the day after. But we have this angle iron that I created here, that I just welded together, and then we use lag bolts and just basically bolt it. Now, 3 of the sides are made out of black locust, which is very rot resistant. After you saw it, it's not as rot resistant, but I still wanted to use it, and we have it here on the farm. And then this is just a telephone pole, which I wish I didn't use. We had an old telephone pole laying around, and things starting to crack. And the bolts just don't, like, the grab is nice on those. But it was round, and that's important for the design, because the way we do it is that because this is rounded, see how that's rounded? I'm not sure if you can pick that up, but because it's rounded, it kind of acts like a sled. And so we have a chain out here, and this will go from this side to the other side. We just have straw there because there's a gap, and we didn't want air blowing in. And then we have another hook over here. And then basically we'll use a skid steer there and we'll hook it up to the chain, and then we'll just drag it, you know, a full brooder length, which we're going to do here shortly. All right, guys, so we're going to move the chicks and the ducks. And I just want to show you why we move them every day, because you can see how much manure they put down in just one day. And this is plenty to grow any crop. And we just want to get them to a fresher spot. And I'm going to show you how they react once they get moved. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in a skid steer here and might even get a shot of the inside while we're moving it and show you how we move this thing. All right, guys, we finished moving them, and I just like to show how much they like whenever we move them. Like they just come out and they go crazy, fighting over all the new seeds and just fresh grass and weeds and stuff to eat. And sometimes you can see where it rained a lot, so we're actually like moving some of the dirt too with this thing. And they'll scratch through there and find worms and bugs and stuff. And now they have a pretty clean, nice new place to forage for the day, and it's a lot better than just having them all in one place for day after day, or in a brooder. So, all right. Yeah, and so the great advantage of this is, like I said, for one, it's saving electricity, but number two, you can have them outside from day one. As soon as we got these chicks in the mail, we brought them out here. We had the light on, of course. Although it actually was very, very warm that day and we turned the light off. It was about 88 to 90 degrees. And so we'll just drag it forward. And during the day, very shortly, I'm going to turn that light off. And you do have to monitor, like we have a vent here to let some of the hot air out if it does get too hot. And actually, anyone who wants to do something like this, I would recommend doing a lot more ventilation than what we did. And when I build another one, I will do that. And then, yeah, we just used the greenhouse plastic, and I had a nailer down there. Just pull the plastic down, and then I have a little thin strip of wood that I stapled to the outside, and then kind of just constructed a door, and ended up breaking because it's made out of poplar, and I'll never use poplar again for framing a door. It likes to dry out and just seems very brittle. But yeah, so, and then like I showed you on the inside, it's just floating, and that's how you can move this whole thing without any without having to pick anything up or anything, because it just, these boards go from one side to the other, and then this box essentially sits on top. And then what happens is my wife or one of my kids stands back here, and I watch them, making sure that they're not going to get run over or anything, and they make sure the chicks don't get just crushed by this thing. And the chicks and the ducklings just want to run away from us, so they basically stay out front. And actually, the older they get, they realize that like there's gonna be fresh grass and bugs and stuff in front, so they actually will all run to the front here, and they will like literally line up like right along the front, and they just fight over who gets the fresh grass and weeds and seeds and bugs. So yeah, I'm not really sure if there's anything else I really need to go over this. I mean, it's cattle. What are these things called? Cattle panels. This right here is just a cattle panel that just arch over top, and I made a small wood frame, and then just use staples on the outside, and then obviously I put chicken wire on the inside. And I wish, well, actually it's never been a problem. I've never had a chick get up over that. Not saying that it's impossible, because as they get older, they will fly up on here, and they will kind of perch on this, and I think for sure they would be able to get in there. So it's kind of, this thing just needs some repair is what I should say. But yeah, so I just thought that was really interesting, and I think it'd be cool if a lot of other people. I think it'd be really cool if a lot of other people started to do this, because I just really, I mean, ours take 10 weeks, but if you're doing the Cornish cross, it only takes about 8 weeks to do a Cornish cross. And if they're in the brooder for 3 weeks, like, that's a lot of their life. And I just think, like, it makes more sense to have them out on pasture the entire life if you can do it. Of course, there are some disadvantages of this depending on the predators you have around. It could be that you have a lot of snakes, or like a weasel or something like that could get under there. Maybe even rats. I mean, we have rats around because we do grain, and like, it's just impossible if you have a farm with grain to not have rats. Even if you don't have grain, you're probably still gonna have rats on your farm. But we haven't had an issue with them. We haven't had an issue with snakes or any of that stuff. So we're gonna keep doing this, and yeah, I think it's very beneficial. It's awesome to see them just from day one, like, just doing their normal natural thing, not inside like on wood shavings, and and it's a lot more work. You gotta change the shavings a lot, or like whatever you're using is bedding. And the great advantage of this is that they're putting it down out here. And actually, what we'll do is let me turn this around. What we'll do is, where this has been drug, I'm going to be planting corn in here eventually, sweet corn. And so we'll do the same thing with the chicken tractors. Once they get out of here at around 3 weeks, we will bring them out the chicken tractors and kind of space them out here and here, and just go down on this long row. And there's a lot of vetch growing in here that also adds nitrogen, and it'll really feed our sweet corn and give us a much better yield and much stronger and healthier plants. So there's a lot of advantages to have them out here. I mean, there's no reason to waste that manure. Not that you can't shovel it out and then put it on your garden or whatever if you're brooding them inside. But yeah, I hope you guys thought this video was interesting, and I'd like to see some other people implementing this idea. I know people do this over winter with their chickens, and they kind of keep them in one place, but this brooding thing I haven't seen yet. I'm sure, like I said, someone else out there is probably doing it or has already done it. But I haven't seen it really, so I thought it'd be interesting to make a video about it.